As a bartender, I spent 14 years watching thousands of dates, and I can't tell you how painful it is to watch a guy lose an opportunity with an amazing woman because he lacks some basic life skills. At the same time, the guys you never think are going to be the cool ones always seem to end up with the girl at the end. I can tell you what works and what doesn't work. And it isn't fancy labels, it isn't spending a lot of money, it isn't bragging about your job or your success in any way, shape, or form. It's a little thing called emotional intelligence. Guys who try and prove their dominance or status in showy ways, like wearing brands or driving fancy cars or bragging about their job or their career or anything like that, instantly put women on alert and not in a good way. That kind of show just tells women that you already feel inferior, so you're clearly not as dominant as you're trying to look. But the guy who's truly comfortable with himself can walk into any room, no matter how crazy or busy it is, and get noticed instantly by women without having to do a single thing. And that kind of quiet, reserved confidence that doesn't have to be displayed comes from knowing who you are, what you're about, and what's important to you. And that is emotional intelligence. So if you think it's not for men, think again. But the power of emotional intelligence doesn't stop at dating. In fact, that's barely anything to do with it. True emotional intelligence helps your career, it helps your relationships, your personal life, it reduces your stress and anxiety, it makes you better under pressure, it helps you make better decisions, it improves your life in ways you can't even imagine. Studies show that men with solid emotional intelligence earn more money. They're better leaders, they have higher retention rates, they have better sales numbers. In every metric that you want to measure career success, men with higher emotional intelligence are that. Men with high emotional intelligence are more confident. They know who they are and where they stand, and they don't question it. They don't have to worry about what everyone else thinks because they don't need that validation. And a man who doesn't need to be validated by anybody else is unstoppable. On top of that, men with high emotional intelligence are more creative. They're better problem solvers. They're better under pressure. In fact, the US military thinks emotional intelligence is so important, they teach it to all of their officers. So what more proof do you need? So what is emotional intelligence? Well, first off, it's self-awareness. Being aware of the emotions you're having, being aware of your triggers, your emotional patterns, and how they affect your behavior. Next is self-regulation. Many men want to follow the path of being stoic, but they think stoic means not having emotions. We all have emotions. But if you understand what your emotions are, and then you can regulate them because you see them coming up, you know how to handle them, you know what your triggers are, you're able to stop yourself from flipping out and losing control. That's what true stoicism is, and that's the benefit of emotional intelligence. Imagine you have a lion. If you keep that lion in a cage, you have to live always in fear of it getting out. Whereas if you tame that lion, then you can let it roam your home without any fear at all. That's the difference between having emotional intelligence and not. When you have emotional intelligence, you're not afraid of that lion. Emotional intelligence also gives you better social skills. When you're more self-aware, you also become more aware of people around you. You develop empathy, better listening skills, and better communication skills. All of these make you a better person to be around. It improves your friendships, your relationships, and your dating life, if that's what you're interested in. But it also improves your communication in the office with your coworkers, with your managers, with your bosses, with your subordinates. This is why men with emotional intelligence have better leadership skills. And I know a lot of men think that emotional intelligence and thinking about emotions at all isn't very manly, isn't masculine, it's not something you need to worry about. But if you look at your life carefully, I guarantee you can see where a lack of this stuff has definitely hurt you. Look at two of the most popular action stars today, like Ryan Reynolds and Keanu Reeves. Would you call these guys weak? They do their own stunts, they're in great shape, but at the same time, everybody likes them. Nobody has a bad word to say about them. Everyone tells a story about how they made them feel so good and they want to work with them again and they want to be around them, and women love them. And it's not just because they're good looking. There are lots of good looking guys out there that women think are jerks, but not these two. Why? Because it doesn't matter what you look like, you make them feel good. That's the power of emotional intelligence. And we can't all be great looking, but we can all learn how to make other people feel good. A lot of men struggle to learn this stuff because even if they know they need it, they don't know where to begin. I went through that. It took me years to learn it. And I see, looking back, I see where it harmed my life and I see the benefits that learning it has given me. So how do you learn emotional intelligence? That's why I became a coach, and that's why I'm creating these videos. So where do you start? Well, the very first place to start, I always tell people, is becoming mindful that you have emotions. Because a lot of men can't even do these basic things. They don't even know what emotions they're feeling. And then you can move on from there. You can get more fine-tuned, more understanding. As you develop those understandings, there's a difference between like anger and frustration, and you're going to respond to those things differently. So that's where to begin. Two other powerful tools are journaling and meditation. Use them together or individually, however you want, but they will help you become more aware of what's going on inside so that you can begin to get ahead of it and understand yourself better. That's the foundation of emotional intelligence. Another foundation of good emotional intelligence is communication skills. For a lot of men, that means shutting up and listening. Not waiting for your turn to talk, not interrupting, but listening to what the other person's saying and thinking about it for a second before you respond. Don't have your response ready as soon as they stop talking, but actually wait for them to finish and think about what you're going to say, what it meant, what they were trying to communicate. Because a lot of times men jump the gun and they assume they know what the other person's talking about before they're even finished, and they get it wrong. And this leads to all kinds of conflicts and miscommunications, which leads to elevated emotions and just makes life way more difficult than just listening and thinking about what the other person is saying. And that is a foundation of good communication skills. We're just touching on the surface here. There's a whole lot more to go into, but that's why I became a life coach. My focus is helping men develop that emotional intelligence so they can have more fulfilling and meaningful lives, better careers, earn more money, and just live more fulfilled and meaningful lives. So if that's something that interests you, click the link down below to schedule a free one-on-one consultation with me and find out whether you're a good fit for one of my programs and whether working with me one-on-one to help improve your life is a good fit. Now, my program isn't right for everyone, but you're not going to know until you talk to me, and it's not going to cost you anything. So click the link below. My name is Charles, Revelcraft Life Coaching. Peace.